guys, that's your Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video. I am thrilled to be joined back by Kruysen. Kruysen, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hello. I'm glad to be here again. And for sure, talking about champions, it's what I like the most.
What do you mean?
Oh, besides playing.
I love having you on, man. This is the third or fourth time, but I think we're gonna try to suck up more of your time if we can in the future, because I love the enthusiasm. You get so into all these champions, and people love when I have you on here. Kruysen, guys, is almost at 8,000 subscribers, 7,200. So let's get him to 8K, guys, so we can have the dev build and we can get some awesome content testing out these new champions before they're in game. We did the last video, man. I had a blast, bro. Like, you're such a wealth of knowledge. We went through and we picked out your favorite supports in every single faction, an hour and a half, and it was a blast from minute 1 to the last minute of the video, minute 90. And we talked about not only who they were, but how to build them, like kind of cutting edge strategies or builds that end game players are using. For your awareness, Kruysen maintains 2 of the top 5 accounts in the world, or 10 accounts in the world. I don't keep track. Perennially the #1 live arena on the Doc Moreau account as well. And this guy just knows his stuff. Even if you're not end game, you can glean something from the way that he builds and thinks about champions in the game. Today, on the follow-up from how to build the best supports in every faction, we're gonna do the best nukers in every faction. I'm really excited here. And the only negative comments that are constructive, no one's negative in my audience, no way. But the only constructive feedback that we got is like, obviously we're here to talk about the best of the best, right, bro? And there was a lot of legendaries and some mythicals, right? Like you were sharing the best. We'll give along the way. I'll give some shout outs and you can give your input too, to some of my favorite epic nukers in each category or each faction as well. So Kruysen, sorry for the long preamble, man.
Is this something new?
We'll jump into Bannerlords here, but before we do, like, talk to me a little bit about the meta of nuking right now. Like, is it all Stone Skin and Lethal and Merciless, basically, some Feral?
There is some difference between the champions, what they can do. But the top tier in nuking are the champions that can do 2 things at the same time. Not only nuke, but or to nuke through something. It can be Stone Skin, it can be block damage, it can be unkillable, it can be some special condition, and to nuke and survive. One of these 2 categories need to be these 2 categories need to be present to you have a top tier nuker. Outside that, only doing damage is not enough right now. We have a lot of champions that can do it, from rares to mythicals that can do a lot of damage. But if they only can do the damage and they're going to die the next turn or hit the Stone Skin and do 0 damage, they are not top tier. They need to do more than that to be a top nuker on the meta right now. Okay. So that's my thoughts about it, at least.
Interesting. So when you say they need to do more, obviously you outlined a few areas like a Marius buff, debuff, or buff decreasing rather. Do you consider somebody like Taurus or Narcissus, just the fact that they're like tanky, is that enough more to be adding to the table? And everything, and they have other stuff too, right? Like,
just being tanky is not enough, because just have his base stats as HP, he will be more tanky than an attack champion or a defense champion. But for example, Taurus has a damage reduction inbuilt on him. So these damage reductions make him a lot harder to kill than other champions. That's the survival factor in him that makes him a better nuker. He can do tons of damage, and he's not going to die from a support A1 or something like this. Narcissus the same way. He can do tons of damage. He won't die from counterattacks and things like that because of his passive, and he also ignores things like passives. And these are the 2 qualities that I church in a nuke to classify him as a top tier, not so good, must be good, can do damage but cannot survive, the glass cannon category.
Okay, perfect. So that makes perfect sense. Like we're here 5-6 years or whatever into the game. So we have evolved, maybe like going on year 7, I don't know. But we've evolved to the sense of like we're looking for not just nukers, but like we're looking for more roles to be played out of all of our champions right now in the game. So it fits beautifully in kind of the theme of this video, because we'll talk about like multi-dimensional nukers, right? In a lot of ways. I'm sure so there'll be some raw damage dealers out there as well. Any other final notes on just the general direction of the meta before we jump into? Do you think relics will have a huge part? I mean, they seem pretty broken. Do you have any mythicals?
No,
okay.
I don't even have Legos relics.
Okay, neither do I. So you think that as relics are become more available and as time goes by, they're going to be do you think there is going to be as big as, they're not going to be as big as blessings, right?
I think they will.
Okay.
I think they will. They will.
Just get the stats and the skills. I guess you're right. Yeah.
There will be new possibilities just because of new relics. As I think I said that about in our last video, or I said it somewhere, I don't remember. For example, champions like War Mother, that right now she's on the vault for the past 5 years. But if you put her in Chrono Cube and give her 2 turns in a row, she will become automatically at the same level as Commodus, the mythical, because she will be probably one of the few bomb champions that can put the bomb and detonate the bomb with a very high multiplier into the bomb to kill the champions. So a vault champion that's been in the vault for 5 years will become a meta. She will be top tier bomb champion.
You're absolutely right. It's weird. It's like, it's easy for me to say, yeah, they're not as much as blessings, but you look at these stupid mythicals with all the slots, with all the stats, and then with busted things like 2 turns in a row. Yeah, you're right, man. Maybe even more in some cases.
The possibilities are, we just have the first relics. I think it's like the first round they launched it. There will be more.
Yeah.
And each time they launch something new,
you're right,
there will be a lot of new possibilities.
Yeah,
and I like
relics
that. I really
are going
like
to change the game slowly because they're not selling them, which is good. I'm assuming you think that's a good thing, or do you not?
Yeah, I
Okay,
like that.
Okay.
They are hard to get right now.
Very hard.
They are hard to get.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of value right now. With a lot of time, 1 year, 2 years.
Yeah.
The value will drop a little bit because there will be common. Like everybody got blessings now. So 1-star, 2-star are not as good as they were in the beginning. You need now 5-star, 4-star, 6-star. I think this is the same with the relics. We're gonna need the legendaries. You're gonna need the mythicals more and more and more because we have many champions now, and we need the relics for all of them in the future.
Final question. I keep teasing the actual video here.
Are you serious?
But I think this is important, right?
Yeah.
And I'll timestamp everything for you guys anyway, so feel free. But Masteries is the meta right now. I mean, is there any nuker you're not putting in Helm Smasher, generally speaking?
Bomb champions, no Helm Smasher for them.
Yep.
Usually, the primal setup of the damage, for example, if you're using a HP nuker like HP nuker bomber like Commodus, HP Masteries, or accuracy, something to add into the damage, but no Helm Smasher for most of them.
Okay. Everything else, raw damage wise, Helm Smasher.
Helm Smasher.
Okay.
There is
Merciless. Go ahead.
More to Macab. More to Macab does not need
Flawless.
Flawless.
Yeah. Okay. Because when they're ignoring 100% defense, they don't need an extra 25. Okay, cool. Do you prefer to go down to like shield breaker, ruthless ambush, cycle of violence? I know every champion's different, but I know some people were moving away from ruthless ambush for a while. Is that still what you prefer?
Yeah, I prefer to go with shield breaker. My traditional route into nukers is to go into the critical hate most of the time, the critical damage, the shield breaker, and then I go to the top right and top left side of the red tree until I get to Helm Smasher, because I think it's the best you can have.
Okay. So single out, bring it down, and then meet at Helm Smasher.
Yeah. Sometimes I pick the masteries that decrease the cooldown of skills when you take more than 30% of the
cycle of
enemy
violence.
HP.
Yeah.
When there is a champion that can cycle very fast through their abilities, I'm going for it for like Rotos or something like this, because the possibilities of cycling very fast are good.
Okay.
And if we're talking about PvE nukers,
I was just gonna ask that. Yeah.
it's totally different. Different. You're gonna seek more these masteries, these cycle masteries, a lot more than the raw damage most of the time. I think to have the skill more frequent is going to be a better way of doing damage over time than having a higher damage and less amount of higher damage skills all the time. So to cycle fast through your abilities is best for the PvE usually.
Okay. PvE, are you looking at AoEs going crushing rend AoEs going cruelty, and then unless you have a 6-star going crushing rend, is that kind of the generally what you're going for blessings? Or I know it's all over the place, but that's for PvE, and it depends, right, on a lot of factors, right? But generally speaking, is that like for Hydra, let's say, are those your go-tos, or what are you going for? Yeah.
For Nukers, no cruelty anymore most of the time. And
no cruelty.
No crushing hand sometimes, because nature is rough, and the amount of damage this blessing can do for champions that do any kind of debuff. You just need 5 times of debuffing, and it will give you 100% more damage, something like this. So nature is rough, made into the top choices, unless you get a dungeon or somewhere you want to use the nuker that you can kill him in a single blow. If it's a single blow, crushing hand is the best one.
Okay.
But if it's overtime damage, you're gonna go for Nature's Wrath, no doubt.
Okay, I'm glad I asked you that. I've been dabbling with it a little bit on like the obvious debuffers, like, you know, like Venuses and whatever, you know, but it's totally right now that you say it. So I'm never afraid, Kruysen, to ask a stupid question. That's my move here on the channel. That's my whole shtick.
There is no stupid question, bro.
I'm glad though. I'm glad that we talked about that. Let's get into Bannerlords, man. What do we have here for in PvP Masteries? I know you're a fan of like of Soul Reap, right? Or was it you were saying that? I forgot who I had on recently. Yeah, I
like Soul Reap for champions that's going to finalize max HP champions. I like Soul Reap a lot. I think that's can make you the run that's going to fail not to fail, and that happens like 40% of the runs if you're doing that a lot. So I think Soul Reap is it's like having another champion in your team, you know?
It's crazy. Yeah.
The extra backup.
Yeah. Like I feel like it's the one blessing that people don't go with a ton necessarily, but like you always appreciate it when it happens. You're always like, oh yeah, you know, unless the Grim Reaper or whatever fails, then you're like, what the frig, bro? All right, man. Bannerlords, favorite nuker, Taurus.
We can't avoid him.
I'm gonna take your role on this one, man. Some of these might be a little obvious. Give me something we don't know about Taurus. What do you appreciate him other than the obvious? He's tanky and he does a ton of damage.
The couple synergy with I don't know if they're a couple, but the synergy between Marichika and
they're
Taurus,
a couple. Yeah,
are like amazing. I think it's the best synergy between couples. Or the only one that goes close to them is Siphi and Rotus, at my opinion. Not even Taras and not even Narcissus and Ankora, that are their counters have as crazy synergy as they have. And as a solo nuker for a huge amount of time, he was the best nuker even without Marichika, just because of the safety of being a very, very tanky champion and dealing a lot of damage with the possibility of 2 turns stun. There are only 2 champions in the game that can do that, and he's one of them, and he's a nuker. You're not going to focus that, but when it happens, you might win the battle because of that stun.
2 turn stun, Killian?
The what?
Does Killian have a 2-turn stun?
I think is the Gamble. No, General. The Void from the Doom Tower, the last one.
Oh yes, you're right.
He's Shadowkin.
General the Stork has one. I thought my guy Killian has one. Let me see. Am I making that up? 2-turn stun. Now, Yeah,
Oh,
2 turns done.
There's more. There's more.
There's a couple more. Anyway,
Yeah.
I digress. Okay, so Taurus, do you like him? Okay, random question. I'm going to try to sprinkle in random tidbits, even if you guys don't have all these champions throughout the video. For platinum, or for, let's say, for gold 5 and above, what is your lowest speed that you're comfortable running your nuker? Unless
200.
like a Shuzhen or something like that, you know, like, but like generally speaking.
250. I think is the minimum
250.
when you reach gold 5 for gold 5 in arena, classic arena, and gold 4 in live arena.
Okay.
I think 250 was very high in the past.
It was.
But now is the minimum.
Yeah, I've had to redo a lot of my nukers, Taurus included, because I was rocking like a 230 and thinking it was great, and then it was just like taking forever because everybody's so fast now, you know, to get back to my turns. Any other shout outs here? Like, do you what do you think of? I don't know. I don't want to answer for you. Who else do you like here?
The
As a
second champion
shout-out.
that I like most here in the past it was Baron.
Baron, yeah.
When he was Heroic, it was Baron. But right
Yeah.
now, it's Quintus. Most of the players
Ooh,
do not
okay.
like him because they think he's not as powerful as they wish. But in fact, he's a really powerful champion. Not only on the PvP, but also on the PvE.
PvE, yeah.
This champion, if the boss has a buff, has, I think, probably the highest HP, max HP ability on his A1. What's most incredible? He can do 4 hits with max HP damage. For example, he can do what the not do 3 hits, he can do on his A1 if the enemy has a buff.
All right.
But that's a condition you're not going to have all the time. And usually you don't want the boss to have a buff. But if he is buffed, Quintus A1 is like a massive damage skill. And on the PvP, he's one of the few champions that I don't figure out how he does that. But he can do insane amount of damage without having Savage gear, which is something that is really rare. I think it's because of the passive and the poor damage that he does.
Interesting. Okay.
There are some guys using him in the top 100 of the live arena, built in 2 turn Stormskin to give him,
because you don't need it with a passive. Yeah.
He's one of the champions that doesn't have what I said to be a top nuker. He does not have survivability or to ignore many things. He can strip and things like that, but he does not survive after doing one action. So he's not a top nuker. But when you put him in 2 turns Stormskin and he still can do damage, he becomes a very viable
That's
nuker.
a great call out.
You smart. You very smart.
Yeah.
He was a top one, and he can do that. He can do that, and it's insane the amount of damage you're gonna take from his A2 and his A1 and his A3 with a 2 turns Stormskin. Like you're like, okay, this champion won't hit 150k to kill my supports, my tanks, but he does.
All right.
He does, and he does.
I like that call out, man. I like that call out. I guess 2 others are real quick is like Rathalos is quite a beast when it comes to, especially PvE, obviously, you know? And then for epics, I would say, I would say 2 Rhonda. Like, I don't think she gets any end game play lately, but she's very unique with the block passive skill. She can mitigate a lot of champions out there. And my epic, I'm looking at the epics, man, and I'm like, dude, this is a tough exercise. Even though like my man Stagnite can dish out a little bit of damage here and there, but I actually think that Oathbound has been, we'll get my call out. I'm sure you're familiar with the Centranos level that everybody knows Oathbound for now. But he can be like my defense-based DPS there and good control too. So that'd be my call out. Let's move on to High Elves, man. Who's your number 1 for your High Elf favorite nuker?
This is a hard.
Can't be Star Sage. That's the one thing he doesn't do.
But if you beat him with damage, he has a fairly decent multiplier.
Of course he does. Of course he does.
Enough.
All right.
He can do everything. It's serious.
He can do everything. Okay, but who is this is an interesting one. I don't know where you're gonna go.
This is a faction that nobody really outstands the other ones. Like, oh, this champion's amazing. But you don't have that as a nuker on this faction. But if you're talking about raw damage in general, I think Suprema Rain would be the strongest nuker on this faction. At the same time, She's the champion that I said. She can do damage, but she won't survive to do it again if it fails to kill the champion. She gets an extra turn. She refracts the skill, but she's a Void Nuker, which is crazy good for a Nuker to be Void. But the damage of her is a very decent damage. Very decent damage. And I need to give this shout out. It's Ronas, the second one.
Okay.
I think he's the most viable one to use in the PvP scenario right now. There was a top 10 live arena player that only played Ronas as his main nuker. And he was a top 10 live arena player. Ronas' kit is...
He got a buff like a year ago, or so.
His kit is not a meta kit.
No.
But his kit has a lot of interesting things.
Yeah.
His A1 can do really decent damage and remove some buffs. At the same time, he put blocks buffs, which is amazing to steal a stone skin or something on with your nuker. A1, it's amazing. His A3 is an AoE, not crazy amount of damage, but enough to kill some not very tanky champions. But you can do stun with it, which is amazing. And his A2 is the real deal in the abilities of this champion, because a triple hit that ignores the half of the defense, ignores increased defense, shield, and block damage, makes this champion, when he targets someone, is hard to survive. I saw this champion breaking Stone Skin and killing the champion with this skill. This skill might someone if you put in a blessing like Cracking Roots.
I was just going to ask that. Okay.
Yeah, he's one of the few champions that might break the Stone Skin and kill the champion.
Interesting.
Because with Cracking Roots, it's easy to break the Stone Skin, but it's hard to break the Stone Skin and kill the champion. He's one of the few champions that might do it.
Very good call out there. I love that. Do you have that Prisma, the keeper, high keeper? Do you
Not
have?
yet, but she's on the Prism shards. Are you going to try?
No, I'm on a 1 month not spend, so I can't do anything.
Oh yeah, I saw the video.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is gonna hurt like a mother.
But okay, cool. I love those calls. That was really great. Supremes. I was guessing everybody. I think my favorite would be Wallmaster. He PVE obviously only, but he's a beast. And then for my epic call out, I think everybody knows about Royal Guard, so I'll give a little love to Ethlin the Golden. This guy's pretty cool. He's not the hardest hitter in the world, to be honest, but he does have a 2-turn block active skills. And he brings his own increased accuracy, so you can build him more for damage as well. So a very interesting nuker who kind of like control nuker, I guess, who doesn't get a lot of play out there. So those would be my call outs.
Oh, nice. I like Neldo also on the epic.
Oh, yeah. Neldor is not bad at all.
For Synchronous and Fire Knight.
Indeed, that quad hitter, triple hitter, and the AoE times 2. You're right. All right, Sacred Order, man, moving right along. I mean, this one... it's hard to get away, right?
Bro, he's my favorite champion. Siegfried.
He was the worst, went from worst to first in the mythicals department, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that Plarium, when they buffed him, that they really did enough testing?
I think because
do you think that they knew that they wanted to make like this beast that he is?
What the champion is going to hit close to 1 million on the meta right now. This champion, I already hit 3.8 million in the top of the arena with this champion. It's like something you don't even know how to explain how that happens, but it happens. And this is the only champion that is able to do it.
He's like, there's no gimmicks. It's just raw damage, and he can like replace Seer. I know we're talking about mythical and epic. I'm just saying that he can like wave clear level 350 mobs or whatever. Like that's how ridiculous he is. And obviously in the arena, he's insane because like you have the nukes, you have the turn meter fill, and then you have the block damage. Like that the passive allows you such versatility when building him. And then the reviver. It's like, what, bro? So I want you to tell us.
Everything.
If you're lucky enough to have this dude, what's your favorite build? Because I remember you saying it on one of your videos, and it was something that I had not considered.
Yeah, right now there are 3 builds that are amazing for him. The full damage build it's 6 pieces of Merciless or 9 pieces of Merciless. If you're going 6 pieces of Merciless, 2 pieces of Cruel, 6 pieces of Merciless, it's an insane amount of damage. If you're using that, go as Blessing for him Cracking Roots, because he's the only champion in the game that these blessings actually can break the Stone Skin and kill the champions, the entire team, without an amazing effort needed. You know, everybody with something special, 100 buffs and something. No, just attack up, nuke someone without Stone Skin, and he will kill everybody else.
I'm lucky enough to have a 6-star Siegfried, and I have polymorph on him. Would you change it to Cracking Roots for you, me?
If you have a 6-piece or 9-piece of Merciless build, yes. If you don't, no. There is a secondary build on him that is 4 pieces of Pharaoh.
Yeah, that was the one I was going to mention. Yeah,
4 pieces of Lethal or Savage. And this is the most used build right now because of the meta. Because with this build, he can survive the HP burns, the bombs, ignore his passive and he dies. So you keep him a very dangerous champion damage-wise. At the same time, not easy to kill him without proccing him, his passive, and making him get to the 100% turn meter and kill you with the skills.
Yep.
So the Pharaoh safety of the immunity at the same time of the damage of the Savage is like very, very powerful. And if you go for this build, you need to use Lightning Cage's Blessing, because you have the chance to keep the immunity on your champion for longer. The block damage if you proc the passive or transform and revive everybody. So Lightning Cage is the best one for this build. Cracking Roots is the best one for the full damage build.
Okay, I love the breakdown, man. Thank you. If you were me, what would you go with? I think I'm going to go with the Cracking Roots. I want to give it a shot.
Give him a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Use the Chosen to buff him and see the destruction of the lightsaber.
All right, let's give a shout out here to an epic. I think without even looking at everybody, I think like you could make a case for Inquisitor in some situations with 100% ignore defense, but Fenax, man, it's all about Fenax, right? Do you ever see anybody try to cheese you with a Fenax up in top 10 arena, or is it just impossible up there? I guess it's not possible if you got a Mikage fast enough, right?
Yeah, there is guys playing Prisma and him to test. I saw some guys using them in the top 100, and it worked. He deleted 2 champions in one turn. Yeah, and he won the battle because of that, because he deleted the 2 nukers, and it's GG. The guy only had the supports left, and just Phoenix and Prisma won the battle by themselves.
Insane. I love this guy. He's like super fun to use. He's such a threat on the battlefield, you know? So he'd be my fave. I'll give a quick honorable to, I mean, it's hard. What do you grade He-Man? What do you grade He-Man?
If he's not Siegfried, he's the strongest nuker on this faction right now. And you have very strong nukers on this faction, like Cupidus, Arrow that can do insane amount of damage. Falmond that has decent amount of damage, but not
Constantine
crazy.
Can do some stuff.
Constantine Vitrus can do some damage.
Yeah.
But He-Man, no doubt, is the second best nuker on this faction.
I like that.
And by kilometers, if not Siegfried, he's the best by kilometers compared to the others.
All right.
His damage output is like really incredible, really, really incredible. Not only on the A2, but on the A3, on the A1, which makes him a very viable nuker, even more because his blue affinity, not green affinity, so he will handle well the meta right now. He won't have many champions that he will weak hit, and there is a speed aura on him, which makes everything on him useful.
Indeed, yeah. All right, cool. Good shout out there. I'm glad that you're a fan. All right, it is time to do, and at the time of this recording, at least, I know it's going to go live in a few, no, it's going to go live before people have Alice, so we haven't actually gone in there and play tested Alice, so, but she looks cool, right? Like her look, I think they nailed it. But yeah, no play testing yet. So Barbarian time. Who we got here, man? Who's the #1 Barbarian nuker? I have one. I'm very curious to see who you're going to go with, though. Oh, well, it's obvious, right?
Yeah, we have the strongest defense nuker in the game. This faction. That is the mythical, alas.
Yep.
So he's a champion that, again, have the two qualities of a nuker that you seek for. He have the survivability because of the A3, and he has the insane amount of damage on the A2.
Yeah.
And he's A1. If the guy has a shield, it hits like a truck also.
It's insane.
So triple hit that ignores the shield and does insane amount of damage. And he has a very good quality for a nuker, a defense nuker. Because we don't have many speed boosters with defense up. Sifu we have, but her boost is not that high. So outside of that, you don't have a huge amount of 30% turn mid boost with increased defense. There is a rare that does it. I think I don't remember his name, but
you're talking to increase. Oh, it's not Seeker, but
I think it's Doomscream. No, not
Doomscreech.
Yeah, Doomscreech. Yeah. So we don't have many. It's just a few, and Alas has the ability to self buff the increased defense. And he does that before he does his own.
Insane. Yeah.
So the amount
can fit in any team.
Yeah, the amount of damage this A2 can do is very high. Yeah. And if everything goes wrong, you can go to the second form to try to heal a little bit, put some fear, HP burn, do some AoEs.
AoEs on the A1, why not, right?
Yeah, it's not an insane amount of damage usually, but can be enough to kill.
Yeah.
And the only bad thing on this champion is his second form is not the first form, because if it was
locked out,
if it was shifted, this champion would be more picked than he is.
That's true. On his first form, to your point, I don't want to spend a ton of time on mythicals, but we got to spend on Allahs, man. This ability, Rolling Thunder, whether you have them or whether you're going against them, if you're playing arena and PvP, it's just like a time bomb. I feel like you just wait. It just tick, 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 tick. It's kind of like that. Narcissus has a little bit of the same feel, right? On that, like, and you're like, no, and then it comes, and you're like, all right, bye.
Don't hit me.
You know, who would be your second fave here?
Now it's something that it depends, because if you bring utility to the table, the second best nuker of this list is the one that we already put on the support list. That is Odin.
I agree 100%, man.
If you bring
this dude's
utility.
insane.
If you bring the PvE into the table, it's Thor. Thor has an insane amount of damage on the PvE. Insane. And he can also be used on the PvP, but he does not have the utility besides the damage. He's going to do the damage. If he does not kill, okay, you're gonna die. And the champion that I would choose a secondary pick, it's Freya.
Ooh, interesting. So building her as a defensive damage dealer?
Yeah, she only has one damage dealing skill, that is the A1. Is not an insane amount of damage, but it's a very good amount of damage. But the possibility to have her as a third nuker, and she has a half of the kit support, and one skill that nukes, and the one skill that nukes can win the game. And I lost many, many battles to that, because when you put Freya, if you're using a very, very fast team to destroy your enemy team, killing the nuker and spreading the damage with Siegfried, or killing the nuker through the Stone Skin with Mazamel, and many other champions of the meta, she can proc her passive, give this nuker that you're trying to kill a turn, and he can revert the table really fast. And if she does that, she's the cleanser that can heal you from bombs, give you shield, and the A1 can do good amount of damage and even provoke. So
I did not expect her to be on the nuker list, but I love it. Yeah.
She's not the top tier nuker.
No, but she's one of those sneakies. Yeah.
She's a very viable option that can turn the table really fast. And between all the other champions, if you take away Odin, I think she's the best one of them to do something. And I need to do a shout out to Shanna, because she's amazing in the right moment. She can be also insane.
All right, so that's a lot of call outs there. I love it. Freya, by the way, like I'm noticing her more and more in the arena. You know, like it's weird. She's one of those champions that not a lot of people that I saw, at least early on, no one was using her, and now she's so tanky too. It's just like, God, man, the preventing death as well. I would give a call out to my guy Turvold. I love good old Turvo. He's super old. He's super, you know, he doesn't have the survivability, obviously. But man, this guy can just smack raw damage in PvE, obviously, in a lot of situations. I have him, I'm lucky enough to have him fully empowered and whatever. So like I can really abuse crushing rend on him and whatnot. But even in the arena, like he's not meta certainly, but he can smack, you know, like for a guy who doesn't ignore defense. I like Turvold. And in terms of epics, I guess I would give it to Alika. Would you agree? Yeah,
I agree.
All right.
She's like the little Alice.
The little Alice. Yeah, the lockout and a little bit of damage. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Ogryn.
Okay, that's a faction.
It is.
That
And go ahead and
we
say
only
Gizmac.
have-
Go
we only
ahead.
we only have 2 insane nukers, but the 2 insane nukers are really insane.
Yes.
The first one is not older, but Gizmac. He's like top of the top of the top of the meta.
Yes.
He has one of the most insane kits in this game. He's really troublesome to deal with because the amount of possibilities and the ways he have to do damage. He's one of the few champions with 3 sources of damage. On the first form, he uses attack. On the second form, he uses HP and defense. So whatever item you use on him, you're gonna buff his damage somehow. He has 40 times of debuffs without using accuracy.
Yes.
And he has like a ton of buffs through survivability and buff your team and get extra turns without being a support most of the time, doing a lot of damage. So there's no way I do not choose him as the first choice here.
Do you like him in pin? How do you like to build him? Pinpoint?
There are 3 builds that are insane on him, and the 3 are insane. There is no difference between them. The first one is 9 pieces of pinpoint. It's like amazing. You're gonna have less amount of damage, probably less amount of stats because pinpoint is a rare set. Now we have the dungeon open to get quality. Yeah, but it was a rare set, so the quality of the gear was not the same as the other sets that we can farm all the time, for example, like Savage. But 9 pieces of pinpoint is insane on him. The second build is or Savage and pinpoint, 4 pieces of each.
Yep.
It can be 5 of pinpoint, or Stone Skin and Savage, or Stone Skin and pinpoint.
Okay.
All these builds are insane on him, and you can choose the one based on your team and based on the best gear you have on these. If you have an insane good kit on Stone Skin and an insane good kit on pinpoint, you can build him this way.
Yep.
If you have an insane Savage and an insane Stone Skin, you can build him this way. If you have 9 huge pieces of pinpoint, you can try him this way.
Okay.
And he will perform really well with all of them.
All right. Who's your second?
The second one is Gurgol. Gurgol right now, it's amazing. Even with the correction that he had on the last patch, having a champion with a crazy speed aura, void nuker that can remove the Stone Skin, freeze the enemy, and
Then come back.
Turn, decrease defense and 2 hits AoE that has the amount of damage output to kill a whole team. This champion is something that right now you need to pay attention if someone pick him, because if he gets a turn, he might destroy you without a chance of surviving, because he will remove all your hopes in one single blow.
Yeah. I find him challenging to build. Well, not challenging to build, but like to get the damage. You want him you want everything on this dude. He's one of those champions that you want him fast, you want a lot of accuracy, and you want the damage. It's challenging to get the damage because I want him fast and accuracy first and foremost. Do you agree with that? Like priority list? Okay.
He's one of the hardest ones to build, but at the same time, he's worth spending your best gear in it if he's your main nuker.
Yep.
Because he will deliver the results that you want from a nuker.
Yeah.
He will be able. He has the two qualities of a top nuker. He has the damage output, and he has the ignore something or remove something that fits into the meta. And he also has some small survivability skill that is the freeze on someone touch him, and that might save you. Sometimes you start the game and someone counterattacks with an A1, a support, and it touches Gurgo and freezes, and you win the game because of that. So it's a huge quality for Nuka, and he's a must-have pinpoint. Must-have. It's like Gizmak. The other set you can choose, but one of them needs to be pinpoint. Yeah. If it's going to be pinpoint and Stoneskin, or if it's going to be pinpoint and Savage, it's your choice. But one of them needs to be pinpoint.
Yeah, I find myself often Gizmak, Gurgo, and Odin. I know a good problem to have, but like I'm trying to build them all the same way, kinda, you know. All right.
And you only have one gift.
Yeah, and I only have one like really good set, so I've been able to like put two together, but it's one's always lacking, obviously. All right, I'm gonna go for epics. There's some interesting choices here. If you're looking for a burner, Skrank's going to be your guy, right? He's got the burn. He's got the damage escalation as well on the Pyromania. So I like Skrank. I like these Void, you know? And then I would say, my man, there's like raw damage. I'm looking at Siege Hulk, man. You like Siege Hulk? You're messing around with Siege Hulk?
I like him. I use him as a stunner and damage dealer and decrease defense of Synchronous in more than one room. Okay. And I like his damage output for that.
He brings all his own buffs too, which is nice, you know, like all the damage buffs. And he decreased defense, to your point. He can smack. Why? It sounds like you were going to go somewhere else, though. Where are you going to go?
No, I would choose him also.
Okay.
I think from the champions out there as support, if you're not looking for something like Man-Eater that is incredible, or also incredible, talking about damage, I think I would pick Siege Hook also.
Okay. I'll give a shout out to Lorne the Cutter. You ever messed around with Lorne the Cutter?
I never tried him.
Okay.
This
guy, I'll tell you, he brings some utility and some really sneaky damage, and a leech and the heal reduction on the AoE on a 3-turn. This guy like surprised me with his damage. I take, in terms of raw damage, I take Siege Hulk over him. But man, Lorne the Cutter, really fun, especially in Centranos. All right, Lizardmen time. Where are we gonna go, man?
It's another one that we cannot escape the mythical.
I know. Well, we can be brief though on Laz, because we spoke a lot about him on the support. Yeah. Ironically, but let's talk about his second form. I honestly find it a little bit challenging to build this champion because he's, again, you have so much opportunity in terms of building him as a setup champion with that 115 speed, with that turn meter fill and the turn meter decrease and the increased attack. So sometimes I'm kind of caught in an in-between land of how to build this guy. What would you recommend?
If you're not a crazy whale, and you got Lazarus, build him with Stoneskin and Savage or Lito. Is the safest and the best build for him for most of the players. If you are in a position that's very rare to have a 6-star blessing for him, crazy fast speed gear that has on the speed gear damage stats, you can build him in the best build in the game, in my opinion. This champion for me is the champion that's most challenging right now on all the meta, because he can do everything. He can do almost everything.
Yep.
And it's the very fast gear with damage stats on them. Critical hit gloves, attack chest with very high amounts of speed rolls, speed boots with critical damage, critical hit, and things like that. It's really hard to do that. Most of the players won't have the gear. So stick to the Savage plus Stoneskin. Mine, I got one. He's 4-star. Mine is on Stoneskin and Savage, and I love him. He's one of the best nukers on my account, one of the I use the most, because the amount of utility he can bring in any level of the game. It can be early game, it can be end game, it can be ultra end game. He's an insane nuker and a force to be respected.
Yeah, even in PvE, I look at him as, I use him in one of my Hydra auto teams because I've taken to only manualing my top team now in Hydra, because who has the time to do all the manualing with the Chimera as well? So I use him in a manual team, and I just keep him first for base form the whole fight, and he's my reviver. And
Yeah.
he brings my block buffs. And like, he's not going to bring the damage, but he's an insane champion in that regard, right? Because he's got strengthen, increase attack, turn meter fill, block debuffs, buff remove. Like, he's got everything, you know? And the speed aura. Yeah. All right.
This champion is amazing.
Indeed. Who is your, I can probably guess your number 2, but there's a few different directions you can go here. There's some beasts here.
Yeah, but I need to make a shout out to the best, in my opinion, faction unit in the game. That is Orcs. I think that's the only one that, even without all the faction units on his side, all the faction friends on his side, it's outstanding. Outstanding. This champion is amazing.
I'm so jealous. I don't have him, man. I'm so jealous of anybody who does.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
Neither do I.
Oh, you don't have me? That makes me feel better. Misery loves company, man.
And I tried a lot.
I know, me too, man. Me too. Is he on Boost right now? I think he is.
No, I think he's not.
No,
I
okay.
think he's one of the few that are not. This champion has like all the kit on is bringing damage to your team. The A2 with triple hit that increases his damage as you do the increase your attack while you do the A2. The A1 that do a lot of damage. And there is also the extra turn if you kill someone with the A2. The A1 that do very good damage and brings with you the other champion with the highest critical damage. For example, for contents PvE, this is amazing. This is insane.
Yeah.
You're gonna bring your other strongest champion alongside you. And the A3 AoE, very strong damage dealing skill that self buffs. And if you have the companions of the faction, is going to block revive, brother. This champion is a force of nature.
Yeah, man.
I think he's one of the few green affinity nukers that I would risk to use on this meta. That people need to, I need to ban the lizards, otherwise Theox is going to melt me.
I like that. I like that. I hopefully one day I will have this dude, because man, I see all those insane numbers and it's crazy. Let me see, who would I give a shout out to? I don't think there's any really good nukers in the epics except for Basilisk. And when I say good, you know, he used to be a beast and he's still holding his own a little bit.
I like his A1.
He's got a good A1.
Good.
He brings his own weak version of increased attack as well, which can be helpful. And he can be good in a stun set because he has a stun as well on his A2. So good for wave control, you know, good for areas like that. Could be good for like an early or mid game blender comp type thing as well, because it hits hard, that A1.
Yeah.
So he'd be my shout out there. I haven't messed around much with Slizzix. Have you?
Not many. Not much.
I'm not sure how good he is or not, but whatever.
Yeah, the champion that I use most from the epics is Venom Mage, because I think his ability is amazing.
It's a she.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I guess, I don't know. I'm just giving you a hard time. It's a lizard. Okay, let me see. Let's go on to Skinwalkers. This will be interesting. Actually, not interesting. Who are you going to go with?
This is a faction with 2 nukers as mythicals, and we won't choose any of them.
I know. Hey, we should probably put a spotlight on that. We're not going with the cock, and we're not going with Mezamel, even though I kind of like Mezamel. I don't think she's the best mythical in the game, but I kind of like her. She's a threat. Ignore self buff and ignore stone skin. But I feel like, I feel like her alternate form hits like pretty consistently hard. Nothing like crazy, but I also feel like you just need really good gear to get that block revive, to get that ignore stone skin, you know?
For me, the hardest thing on her is her affinity. If she wasn't green, she would be meta. She would be meta.
Okay.
Because she's a threat, and a threat that you cannot ignore.
Yeah.
Because if she has a chance, he will delete someone, and this one will not come back.
Yep.
So there is no way almost to survive her A2. Right now, after the buff, she's a force to be recognized.
Yeah.
And
but we're not here to talk about Mezamel. Talk about your favorite. Yeah.
This faction is like an amazing faction for nukers. And actually, in my opinion, she has the strongest nuker in the game right now. not only PvP wise, is the strongest nuker on the PvP and the PvE at the same time. That's Marius, and he's a free champion.
I know.
This is a void champion that self's buff, increase defense, has
everybody.
On everybody, and increase accuracy, has an insane multiplier on the A1 AoE, an insane multiplier on the A2 AoE, and not a crazy multiplier, but an insane damage output on the A2, and max HP on the second skill. At the same time, he reduces the cooldown of the buffs of the enemy, has enfeeble AoE on the A1, and the most annoying passive out there.
Right? You gotta always be careful with this dude, man. He's always gonna be enfeebling or nuking you or killing you in some way. And to your point, in PvE, you can get back to that, or anywhere, I guess. You can get back to the A2 so much faster because of the extra turn. Man, at 110 speed, as if all that wasn't enough, like he's tanky and fast. What's your favorite build on him for PvE and for PvP?
99% of the players should play him in 4 turns of Stone Skin, 4 turns of 4 pieces of Stone Skin, 4 pieces of Savage. But that 1% can play him in Slayer set 9 pieces or Merciless set 9 pieces. If you are able to do it, have fun. It will destroy everything.
Okay.
Actually, there's something. I sometimes watch my stream back to see what make me lose.
Oh, that's
and
smart.
Every 10 battles that I lose, 8 are because of Marius. So this champion is the hardest champion to counter in the game right now.
Yeah.
Because there's so much he can do just by being there. He's a champion that if you see in the other team, you're gonna even risking being deleted by Armans or something like that. You can choose to ban him because he's going to destroy you also.
If there's this curve over how much I ban Marius since he's come out, it just goes up and up and up. Because most of the time I'm just like, nowadays, like, I just don't want to deal with him. I don't want to deal with him. You know, to your point, between that passive, it's just like he really helped redefine the meta single-handedly by being able to erase that A2, just the duration of enemy buffs, you know?
And the most incredible thing, he's a free champion.
Yeah, it's great. And the other freebie I know you're a huge fan of too is Sun Wu. Are you still using Sun Wukong a lot?
Yeah, I think my second pick here is Sun Wukong.
Okay.
I think he, as a free-to-play choice, he's one of the most dangerous champion that you can have on the other side.
Yeah.
Because if he has the chance, he can delete your team in a single blow.
Yep.
We've
all been there.
version of the Siegfried, and a very strong budget version. Even being a green affinity champion, he steals one champion that even through the weak hit he can do something strong. So if you have the chance to put him in a team of UDK or some champion that is going to survive for a long period of time, is worth choosing him. There are players that I face on Dog's account that they don't have the stat or the champions to face me. And they put like everything that's RNG based. And they put UDK and Wukong. And there are sometimes I lose the battle because at my cycle of skills through my champions, with insane amount of stats, insane amount of empowerment, blessing, Wukong without blessings, without nothing, revives in the right timing. That I got nothing. And he ate one of my supports and he wins the battle.
I've been there so many times as well, and it just speaks to how great this freaking little monkey is, man. I mean, he's, to your point, like the guy that was free and still free on new accounts, like that Monkey King promo code is still active. People can still get, anybody starting right now can still get him. It is bonkers how good he is in endgame, like as one of the defining champions. But we're not even done yet because I know you love Nishak.
I think he's the second.
We'll go speed round here, but yeah, I mean, you love Nishak a lot. I saw you using him, you know, a lot on your live streams. Yeah.
You know too much about me.
Outside the Comidus, I think he's the strongest bomber in the game right now. If you don't have the Chrono Cube, If you had the Chrono Cube, we're gonna take him away and gonna put Walmada.
Yep. I don't think anybody has that. Well, I'm sure some people do, but congratulations if you do. Man, there's so many. Oh, we could be here all day with just this one faction because obviously Leo is interesting. You know, especially the A2 it's really cool. He has the deny. Yeah, exactly. Who else? I mean, even Tamisha in the new event dungeon, like pretty useful with the stun and all that damage you can get out of the burning regret.
Yeah.
Ragash. What?
Bracos and Ragash also can be really interesting.
Yeah, Ragash with that. That's a disgusting A2.
Yeah.
Who'd you say before? Oh, Brackus. You said Brackus.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the werewolf.
Yeah, good old Halloween champion 2019. You like that he can come back from the death, get that last shot, and just the damage, I'm assuming.
Yeah, he does not have insane amount of damage.
Yeah.
But we have in a very fast meta, as I told many times, and a champion that can be killed really fast, come back and kill someone back, or even killing the champions that you're going to use next.
Yeah.
It's insane. He can break the meta a little bit because of that, and he can do damage. He's just not insane amount of damage, and most of them are single target. So you want him to kill someone, even if he's a glass cannon build, he can do that. Yeah, he can do that. So I think he's a viable champion.
It's a good call out too, because, you know, I mean, I'm sure everybody already knows this, but like when it's kind of like the Cardinal revive, like no matter what the situation is, he's going to go, you know, like there's no, if everybody's sitting there with full turn meter, he's immediately going to go. So we'll move on from this faction, but we give us so many shout outs. I'll give one to, I guess a Kemptum. I don't know. This guy always, he just stacks up the damage, man. Like every time you use this guy, at least me, every time I use him, I'm like, I leave the battle at the end screen. I'm like, whoa, he dealt that much damage, and he's got triple hitters. Like that's all his kit is. So very interesting and good. Very epic unique champion. What?
Very unique. Yeah. Very unique mechanic.
Yeah. Orc time though. It's orc time, man. Who you got here?
I think we left a faction that has so many champions that you can choose in the top tier. To a faction that we don't have many.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see where you go here. Where you go?
Yeah, the champion that I would choose the best here is not the Mythicals. Garou can be an insane champion. Yep. Yes, but I prefer to use right now King Garou as the strongest champion of this faction. I think this champion, after the buff that we recently got, can do really good damage with his A2 and really good damage with the A3. And there is a synergy between his passive and the blessing Life Harvest that is really useful. Really useful. I did some videos on him and some streams that I only used him as the nuker on the top tier of the arena, and he performed well enough to be a champion that I could bring down a whole enemy team with one skill. And that was something that he wasn't able to do before the buff that he had recently.
Wow. I love that. I'm going to be honest. I usually try to test out all the champions after their balance changes. But for whatever reason, like I knew that he was buffed, but I just didn't get to King. I don't know. I had that stigmatism, honestly. Like, you know, like, he's trash, you know, the multipliers suck. But I see what I love the ignore defense built into his kit. Like you said, a very interesting passive. I'll have to try him out. That's a good call out there. And I didn't think in a million years that's where you were going.
The blessing Life Harvest on him. If you're facing a Marichka, is something incredible because you want to face Marichka with him. What you really want is to face Marichka with him because you're going to kill the whole team.
And then
Marichka is going to bring the whole team, and you're going to have your turn instantly. So you're going to kill the team.
Interesting shout out. That's a good idea. I'm gonna maybe that will be my next build idea to do a video on. That was great. Cool. I like Varl a lot, man. It's cool to have the escalating for longer battles. It's cool. I mean, he's like a farmable quote unquote Doom Tower champion that, I mean, you can hit for over 1 million with the Calamity Torrent, and it's really nice to have an escalating damage, obviously. And it's really good to have a nuker who can bring an AoE weaken on a 3-turn, you know, like big. It's nice to have that. It allows you to pair him with, you know, a Michinaki or whoever, and have both of those covered. So he'd be my call out. And I guess Seer would be my, what?
Aurel and Supreme Gallic are really PvE monsters. The amount of damage they can do on PvE is insane.
Yeah.
Both of them are really good. Even more for Chimera and Hydra, they are insane.
Yep, I agree. And then I would say Seer is a obviously
I am a little bit older than you. I would choose Zargala. I love her. She was one of my first epics, and I'm attached to her since the time.
Hey, she can still smack. You know, you put her in good gear, she can still do it. She absolutely helped me. I forgot what stage it was, but I remember Curse City. I was like, damn, Zargala still has it, you know?
Triple hit decrease defense.
So it's cool to have that instant activation too, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Demonspawn time, man.
Oh my god. This is another faction with so much possibilities.
I know.
So many possibilities, sorry. The first one that I would bring is no one but Commodus. He redefined the meta. Yeah. When he came out, he was trash talked by everybody. And until we noticed what we were losing by not using him, he's the first champion to do what he does, to have a different source of damage to a bomb debuff. And his kit, not only the bomb, all his kit is very interesting. The reflect debuffs, the AoE remove buffs, and the block active skills, the turn meet deplate, and the skills on cooldown on a single target. The turn meet steals and the deplate of the cooldown.
It's insane, on the man. Yeah.
AoE weaken, self-healing, extra turn. This champion has a lot of things. He's an insane force that if you see on the other team, you're gonna know that if you do not take care, he's going to delete you. And many of our choices right now, when we see him on the other side, we're gonna have at least to use 2 champions to stop him, or we have to ban him if he's live arena, because if you don't have the champions to deal with him, you're gonna need to take him, because if he gets one turn, it's GG. You're gonna lose.
I know Marichka. Who's the other?
Pharaoh set champions.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah. But you're right. He's probably, if I see Commodus in live arena, even over Armand's, Marius, whatever, unless I can draft him, but even when you draft a Marichka, it goes into the mind games, and you're like, well, they're gonna ban my Marichka. I better still ban Commodus, you know. So I still end up banning Commodus, you know. But to your point, I like that you pointed out everything. Everybody knows his bombs and his bomb activation, but just all the rest that he brings is insane. All right, who you got number 2?
Vulcanus is, I think, is the other faction unit that they made really, really well. He's a champion that is really hard to deal with, really hard, because sometimes you're doing just your actions that you do. You brought your Sifi, you want to buff yourself, and you buff yourself and you lose 50% of your HP out of nowhere without having how to not having that damage taken from you. Stone Skin won't save you, block buffs won't save you, your passives won't save you most of the time. So this champion has really good damage. Not insane, but really good. If he has a faction ally, he doesn't need accuracy. He has the possibility of block or revive with AoE skills and HP burn, block revive. So I think that's unique. He's a champion that just being there, he doesn't need to do an action. Just his presence is offensive by himself, and he's a defense champion. So I think he's really interesting. His kit is unique, and is one of the champions that I don't have that I wish I had.
Me too. These factions, these unities are hard to get, man. Okay, let's give an epic shout out here. I mean, there's also a lot that we didn't name, right? Like that are really interesting, unique, and viable. But we'd be here, all day, and I'm already keeping you all day. But for my epic shout out,
Don't tell Miss Magnar.
oh yeah, it's Magnar. What do you mean? Don't tell me. I feel like that's an obvious choice. I don't know.
This one.
Sometimes you'll do this on you. I'm sure you do on videos as well on a stream, but like you'll miss the obvious choice. And you'll be like, oh, maybe Gorlos. He's really good. Yeah, it's Magnar, man. I mean, Magnar, he's got that raw damage, and the cool debuff spread kind of thing on the A3. It hits hard too. So yeah, I like me some Magnar, man. It could be one of the best nukers out there for epics.
I think he's a Lego in disguise, bro.
Yeah.
He has Lego kind of damage for an epic.
Yeah, I love it. I love the sustainability. He's like the ultimate wave. Like if I'm in Centranos or whatever and Magnar's available, I'm like, you're going in, Magnar. Put me in, coach. All right, let's go to Undead Horde. I know you're not going to go Calamitous on me. So Calamitous, man, I try to talk myself into this dude. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on him, but I just can't. I mean, he's all right. He's all right, but I hope he gets a buff. But who you have? Yeah.
At this moment, he's a mythical that's not mythical.
He's a mythical who's legendary, I feel like.
Yeah, or lower.
Yeah. Okay. Who we have here for Knave, my first look in my game at Knave. Interesting. Who you have? Who you got? Rotos?
I think Rotos, no doubt, is my choice, and he's my favorite legendary champion. Ooh. I love this dude.
It's a great choice, man. You can't go wrong, right?
See, when I started playing, it was a little bit before the Rotos fusion. And
same, I think we probably around the same time.
Yeah, he was my first strong legendary. He was my damage dealer at campaign, at clan boss, at everything, and he steals my main nuker after 5 years. So this champion is atemporal, he does not age.
Yep.
They tried hard.
They did. Nerf. Yeah.
Every time they nerf him, he comes back stronger.
Is that me stronger than me? Oh!
He's amazing.
I am a huge fan of him.
He's got like that Sun Wukong vibe that we spoke about how you're never done with a battle if Rotos is alive.
Yeah. If he has 1 HP,
that's it. It could be boom, boom, and boom, and extra turn on the A1, you're dead. Give me some basics on building a Rotos, because I know that it's something that people still ask about to this day. First of all, why don't you start with the blessing, because he's got a unique blessing. He has the
best usage of the blessing, that is Ward of the Fallen. This champion is probably the best blessing for him, and no doubts on that choice. Mm-hmm. This is a blessing that's outstanding for him. Everything that she does fits perfectly the kit of this champion. It's like insane the amount of things this champion can do because of this blessing. He's a champion that cannot be killed in 2 hits. If you have that blessing, you're gonna need 3 hits. And if you select the amount of champions with triple hit, that reduces a lot the amount of champions that can do it. So that's by just putting this blessing, half of the champions in the game cannot kill him in a single blow anymore. And that's insane.
And after that, I'm assuming just stacking up as much HP flat stat and then attack percentage.
Exactly.
And savage or whatever.
On every ascension that you could bring HP on the top pieces, helmet, shield, and weapon, you bring flat HP. On the accessories, you bring flat HP as main stats of the ring and the banner. At the same time, you're gonna seek for main stat for substats, HP percentage on the ring, on the banner, and on the weapon, on the helmet. The shield you can't, but he's a very different, unique way of building a champion. And there is one more shout out about this champion. We're not going to tell 9 pieces of Merciless is just the perfect choice for him. He's the best champion to have 9 pieces of Merciless in the game right now. His kit is like made to this set, but there's one relic also that fits him really well. The relic name, it's Aspect of Cyroth. That's
Okay.
a relic that most of the champions won't have a good synergy. But with Rotos, he's already a top tier champion for me. With this relic, I would say he's the strongest champion in the game. Because when you think you're finally going to kill the Rotos, this relic is going to proc. That champion won't die, and he will automatically have a turn. So when
What
you
is it called
finally
again? Right in front of my face. Okay, cool. I gotcha.
aspect of Cyroth.
Yep.
Is the third one of the first
Yep.
page. This
Oof.
relic, when you're finally going to kill the Rotos, it will deplete his turn meter, nullifies the damage. Most of the champions,
Oh my god, dude.
it is screwed because of that, because the turn meter is going to 0. But Rotos, when you try to kill him, even when his turn meter is going to 0, his passive will give him an extra turn. And this extra turn will make him have an instant turn that he's very dangerous and when you have it. And if you kill one champion, you're gonna reset the cooldown of the relic and of your passive. So you're gonna have to face that again. So
Insane, man. We can only dream. Maybe in 3 years, I'll get that. But you put them all together. To your point, Ward of the Fallen and the Aspect Relic and 9-piece Merciless. Oh my god.
I think that's something that probably is going to be nerfed in the future because, in my opinion, I'm a huge fan of him.
Yep.
But that's broken. That's broken
Indeed.
because
Like, how you ever gonna?
in one turn, you kill him, boosting everything with something that ignores that, do multiple hits, and a lot of things, bombs and things like that. Or he's going to have a turn and kill you, and after doing that, he will be not able to be killed again.
Yeah.
And that's insane. That's insane.
Indeed.
And in one turn, he will have that again. So, and he gets the extra turn if he kills someone. So, I think that's too much broken.
Yep.
But I love it.
Well, yeah, he's your favorite guy, so don't jinx it, man. Don't jinx it. I'll give a shout out to Valkonen. I love this dude, man. He's like really cool comp. Like, to me, Valkonen is, he's not the most powerful champion in the game, but he's like, what a great design on his kit, right? Like, he's got a lot going on. I'm not gonna sit here and read it all, but like, you can do some nasty things with him. Like, I generally don't like secret skills in this game that much, but his is so cool because you can sacrifice like a Sun Wukong, and this Malice Unleashed, man, like, it's gonna be one of the most powerful abilities. Granted, the setup, it makes it a little bit laborious, right? But
have you ever tried him with Gaius?
Yes, I have, dude. With the instant death bomb activation with the sacrifice.
This combo.
He's so much fun. It's just like, you got to pull it off, right? It's a setup,
Another champion that is out of the meta. But with Chrono Cube, you might bring him to the meta.
Yeah, true.
Because for example, if you have him and Yukong and you have Chrono Cube, you're gonna kill, you're gonna have your turn. For example, Speed Booster. You're gonna speed boost him. He's going to kill Wukong. He's going to have his second turn in a row, and he can do his secret skill. And one movement for your opponent, Wukong will be back and ready to mingle with full turn meter.
It's insane. It's insane.
So this relic can change a lot of champions that are out of the meta to be insanely powerful. Powerful.
Nogdar is a fun combo with him because Nogdar comes back with a full turn meter. So he instantly just comes right back with a full turn meter, which could be like a turn meter boost, essentially. So really fun. Like, it's just one of my favorite combo champs there in Valkonen. And I'll say for epics, I love Dark Helhane a lot, especially progression. Like, she's so good. You get her at the time where you can really use her a lot. I love that she has the decreased speed too. Like, it's so essential. She has it on a 3-turn cooldown, and she has the unique free stuff. You can use her anti-Torment, anti-Frostbiter, anti-Ice Golem. So I like her utility. And then, like, I would say more end game-ish is Husk is pretty solid with the stun and the enemy max HP. Anybody you like there for epics?
The Anax is a really solid pick against Chimera. Really solid. He has like decreased defense, decreased accuracy, poison, weaken and some survivability on him with extra turns and things like that.
Yeah.
Extra turn and increase attack and increase defense on a single champion. So it's a lot to consider because he has a huge trial potential and he can do damage. He can do damage, a lot of damage. Not crazy insane amount, but really good damage.
I like that.
On things like that. Single
Good call
target.
out. I haven't used him a lot, but I maybe I'll try him out for Chimera. All right. Dark Elf time. Who you got here? I was kind of disappointed in the. I'm not going to spend a lot of time again, but I was kind of disappointed in the Aphidus Hive Lord buff. You know, like it just wasn't enough damage. They added damage, but not enough. However, his A2 is like, or his alt form is so. I think it's so heavy on control. It's interesting, but it's just not enough to put him in top tier, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's an interesting Chimera champion because of the amount of things he does. He has two forms with a lot of things on the both form. So he can be a trial champion and he can do a lot of damage. I actually tried him with insane build and he can hit like for 1.5 million per hit, even A1.
Yeah.
So on Chimera, so that's insane amount of damage for a champion, but insane gear, insane empowerment, insane blessing, which is not the normal for a mythical.
Yeah.
And only on Chimera. Even on Hydra, he does not perform that good anymore.
Yeah, he's not bad. Like I don't want to sit here and like talk. Like I think he's actually like I actually like this guy. He's like really cool, but he's just not the mythical you want to see coming out of a primal shard. You know, like let's be real. You know, but I think that anybody who gets him, most players who get him will be pleased. You know, he can do a lot. But anyway. Who are we talking about here for your favorite Nukers? This is interesting. I don't know where you're going to go here. Well, I think I have a guess. I'll put it on the screen, but who do you think? He can't see my screen.
My first call, it would be Queen Eva.
I had her up.
Yeah.
All right.
After her buff, she's one of the few champions that can delete another champion and he won't come back. Her damage is compared to the Mesomel damage, for example.
True. Yep.
They have very similar skills, but she does not ignore the Stone Skin as the Mesomel does. The difference between like and a mythical.
Indeed.
But at the same time, her skill is stronger than Mesomel damage-wise. So she does more damage if there's no Stone Skin involved.
I agree. Yeah.
She's a really powerful champion to delete someone. And is another champion that... if she's on the other team, you need to be a little bit careful because, again, if she has a turn, she might delete you. If she had a little bit more damage, she would be a cracking root champion. A champion that could use that blessing to break the Stone Skin and kill the champion. But she lacked a little bit of damage.
A little shy. Okay.
Yeah, if this ignore defense was 60 or 75%, which is very high, she would do that. She would break the Stone Skin and kill the champion with a single blow. And that would bring her to another level of champion. Because if you see one, you're going to need to ban her because she's going to take one champion out of the game just having a turn. And that's been never. What 4 years ago wasn't happened. Now she's
from campaign farmer to a threat that has to be dealt with on the battlefield. You know, it was a good buff. It was a good buff for her.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You know who I like? An old school block revive champ that I like a lot? Folly. Yeah, man. He's more for me. I mean, you can definitely run him in PvP. Don't get me wrong. Very interesting, especially going against CCs with the living armor passive. So like he's not bad in PvE, or PvP rather. But I love this dude in like Fire Knight. He's on my main Fire Knight team. He brings the decreased defense on his A1. He's got quad hitters on the A1 and the A2. And I love the Seal Fate like smacks and it denies revival, you know? So I like Foley, you know? Like don't see him at all in like Arena nowadays, but you can do a lot worse, you know? You like him?
I used to like him. He was one of my favorite champions when I started playing. And in the very beginning, I had six champions of the same faction. Let me remember which was Reach Off of the Bannerlords. Okay. I had six Reach Off on my account, and I had like 30 Legos on my account, and 6 of them were.
Oh my god!
And I was like, I promised myself, if I was opening shards and I promised myself, if I open another shard and it comes a reach off, I will stop playing because I cannot endure another reach off. And I promised myself, my favorite champion, the reason why I'm opening shard is Folly. And out of the same 10, I got a reach off and a Folly.
So where does that put you? You're right in the middle ground, no man's land.
I'm still here.
So you're still here, man. You're still here.
I'm still here.
I like Foley a lot still, but again, you know, mainly for PvE now for me. But he's a very interesting and cool champion. I love when old school champions can retain some value in the game. You know, I feel like for epics, man. For me, it's. I mean, just raw nukage speaking, like I like Dirindil, man. You mess around with Dirindil at all?
I tried him.
You like him or no?
I like, but I think I use more Luria and Lua than I use him.
Interesting. Okay, I'm a Dirindil guy. You like Lua? Out of Lua and Luria, because I honestly like I have them both, I built them both, I played with both of them. Who do you like better? Because like who are you more impressed with damage wise? Luria? Lua.
I think Lua does more damage, but I like the freeze from the Luria. I like her. There are some rooms on Cintranas that I couldn't beat, and I made her build better, and she saved me. Yeah, she saved me a lot.
Luria was the highest freeze that you could get from an epic in this game at 75% for years and years and years. Yeah. I mean, I think it might have been Crowd in the Blue, like for like, you know, that was the first dude who came out with a better freeze for epic. So she's really good control and to your point damage. So good call out there. Nice Revenant, man. Nice Revenant. Oof, we got the new ones in here too. Sorry, the day that we're recording this is the day the update went live, so I apologies for like drooling over the designs here. This Losen guy looks insane. The guy with all the manipulation, the faction unity guy. But anyway, I digress.
He will be interesting.
Yeah. I can't wait to see. There's a lot of them here anyway.
There is something we can complain, that designs of the new champions, oh my god, they are amazing.
I know. Oh man, I love them all. Okay. I gotta stop drooling over these guys. I have a guess. I'm gonna put it on the screen who your favorite nuker is. Let us know who it is.
I'm not going to pick Narcissus if Narcissus is on the screen.
No, it's not on the screen. He's not.
I picked Georgid.
I went with him. I went with the Nutcracker.
Yeah, I think Georgid is a champion that he was made to do one thing, and he's probably the best or the second best in what he does. He is the definition of a glass cannon. Do the damage, kill someone, or die. Because he's so squishy. At the same time, the damage output he can do, it's insane. And he ignores almost everything that's out there in the game to make you survive. So his A3 followed by the A2. And one more thing. When I am facing a situation that I doubt that his A3 is going to kill, I'm not going for the A2, I'm going for the A1, because this champion A1 is the best skill on his kit raw damage wise. The damage output of the A1 is insane. That's
a really good call out there. Honestly, like I use Georgia, you know how it is, man. Like I know a terrible problem to have, but you have so many champions that like really good ones you just don't like use a lot, you know. So I've used Georgia a fair amount, but not enough to know that I should be using his A1 in situations. I know the repeat attack, but didn't realize it hit that hard, even though I go against him all the time.
Sometimes healing. He's one of the few champions that you can see a nice, that's a force of nature, one of the tankiest champions in the game. Someone that if you don't have enough damage, you're going to proc his passive, and he's going to delete your team. And he's a champion that you can A1 and evaporate the nice.
Do you try to build Georgid with, obviously you want like Savage or Lethal on him, but do you want do you try to build, if you're not building with Shuzhen or something, do you try to get him to that 250 or so speed, but try so hard to like min-max the attack with attack percentage boots on him?
Bro, I built him with, I tried him with 408 speed.
I remember you telling me this like a long time ago. Yeah, like
He is an insane champion. He can do an insane amount of damage, even with that high
even with
speed.
that, yeah.
It was insane gear, insane. Something that normally not happen. But this is a champion that is lower. He's a tank. Fast, he's a machine gun. Middle speed, he's a AK. So he's a gun.
Yeah.
Pointed to someone, he might kill.
Okay. Okay, so
And,
you're generally speaking, then ignore defense, 100% ignore defense potential, and fast as you can.
Not as fast as you can. I think
Okay. I thought you wanted the machine gun over the AK. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, the safest way to build him is the Stone Skin and Savage.
Okay. Okay.
If you really rely on your lucky, you can even try away the Savage and just trust that the passive is going to proc.
Okay.
But not the safest way. It's better to have the Savage.
All right.
And this champion has one peculiarity. He's A1 so insane that having him on the Blessing Phantom Touch, so doing two hits, the possibility of having more 2 hits, and the Phantom Touch, if 6-star, more 2 hits, it's a lot of hits to survive. Even the strongest champions might tremble to this champion. He's a champion that you should not use in cracking roots, because he already
nerfs Stone Skin, yeah.
Stone Skin. Many people use that, and that's a mistake. In face of his A3. His A3 already ignores Stone Skin. You don't need to do more damage on the Stone Skin with cracking hoods. But his A1, it's so strong that with cracking hoods, you might be able to break the Stone Skin and kill the champion if you have the extra hits. But again, it's a combo.
All right, man. You're making me want to really dust him off and start using him, because, like, obviously, I have Seek Friend, and like, you know how it is. Like, you try to pick and choose your attack-based nuker or whatever, but man, you're talking me into a good old Nutcracker, man. Narcissus, obviously, like, I'm assuming would be your number 2.
Yes, generally he is the number 2, but I want to do a shout out to another champion.
Okay, yeah, hit us.
It's Eric's.
I like that shout out. Yeah,
she's a very interesting champion for sure. Narcissus is a way more meta champion.
Yeah,
way more trustable champion. One of the strongest champions out there. Hegemon also is an incredible champion that was out of the meta for 2 years, but now he's back. And but I want to make a shout out to Alex.
Okay.
Because she was a fusion, not fusion, login champion.
Login, yeah, like 700 days or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, 270 if I'm not mistaken.
No, not 270. That's Eric. That's Vizix.
Oh yeah, it's Vizix. Yeah, it's lower than that.
Yeah, she's like 700 and something. Like, I'm not joking. So because you know how I know that is because one day in a video, Kruysen, I was like, yeah, you guys will all get her eventually. She's a login champion. And like half the comments were like, BS, I've been playing for a year and a half. I still don't have her. What are you talking about? And it's like, she's like one of the last ones you get. So eventually, eventually you will get her. But I'm sorry, I digress. So, go back to it. Like, yeah.
She's an HP champion, which makes her a little bit more tankier than naturally all the other nukers.
Yep.
And her AoEs are something that you need to respect. Otherwise, she's going to kill you through the AoEs, and you even notice that you're being nuked, because sometimes it doesn't hit really good at the first hit, then boom, suddenly a bomb come into your head. And where that come from? And it is Eric's doing a counterattack and killing you, and you're out there being nuked, and you don't have nothing to do because you don't have where to hide. Your perfect value won't save you, and things like that. She's a champion that can do it. She should not be your best HP nuker gear, but she sure deserves a very good nuker gear if you have. And you can try some pieces of the counterattack settings with 2 pieces. The retaliation set with 2 pieces is something good on her, because if you're not with the counterattack, it will give you the chance of counterattack just by that, and the masteries of counterattack and the rings of counterattack put a lot of the chances of her doing her A1. She has a strong A1, and I think she's a champion to mention.
I love the call out. Great. Who else? Oh man, there's so many epics we could call it. Nice Revenant is so stacked, man. Just a random side note, I was so disappointed in what they did with Fortis. I was hoping they would do a little bit better on my man on that buff. He's a cool champ, but it's not there yet. I will say, you know what? I kick it old school, man. I'll give it to Skull Crown still, you know? She's got the unkillable, obviously the passive. She got 2 AoEs, the old school blender. She got Sinesha, her sidekick. I like some Skull Crown. Who do you give it to? Whisper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think right now, Whisper is the strongest champion on this faction on Hydra. On Chimera. And on Hydra also. And the damage this champion can do rivalries with the mythicals that has the highest damages in the game on the Chimera right now. This is a champion that can do so much high damage that most of people didn't even try her, because people are not trying her. Their 9 pieces merciless set in a 6-star Whisper +4, and they might have her +4 because she's an epic. They might have higher blessings for her because it's cheaper than a Lego or a mythical. And her damage output on Chimera is close to Toshiro's, it's close to Teox, it's close to Marius, it's close to Nut, the highest damage outputters out there. She's a champion that can do it and even outperform most of them, and she's an epic. That's how incredible her kit is to a boss. The amount of extra turns is even dangerous, because if you have a very fast team that cycle very fast with Senna and things like that, you might get close to the turn limit on the Chimera.
I know. How close have you came on the turn limit, by the way?
Once it wasn't me. I was in a call when we were trying some builds, and we were on 1,100 or 1,200.
Okay.
Which is really close, because my fights are not even close to that.
I did 1,150-ish, you know, with the infinite turn meter boost. Senna and Androck too, with the critical hits.
Yeah, it was a team like that.
Yeah. Anyway, I digress. Whisper. I'm not texting, by the way. If anybody sees me like with my phone out, I'm jotting down, like, I've got like 3 video ideas, you know. This is why I love having you on. I get more inspiration for future content, man. All right. Dwarf time here, man. Dwarf time. Ooh, I saw you using this guy on stream. I'm wondering what you think of him, but why don't you give your picks? I mean, I'm assuming you're not going to go there, but I want to ask you about him. Who are you going to go with? This is ridiculous, this faction. They never add dwarfs, though, to the game. Very rarely do they add them. I mean, we're just at Nice Revenant, and there's like rows on rows of legendaries and poor dwarves.
2 lines.
Like, 2 lines
of dwarves.
All right, I'm sorry. Who are you going to go with here, man? This is tough.
This golden dwarf out there in the corner, right corner, Arnon the Shining.
Okay.
Right now, he's one of my favorite champions.
Okay, this is exactly who I have on the screen. I saw you running him in arena, and I was like, dude, I never seen him at all.
Champion. Yesterday, I lost 4 fights. I lost. All my team was deleted. All my HP was brought to 0, but his HP was brought to 0. He turned it on his passive, and he won the match. Just like that.
Dude, the stone skin.
When everything seems to be lost, this guy procs his passive and he deletes the enemy team. I think he's a champion that you're gonna bring him with Lightning Cage to try to keep the stone skin on you. You're gonna use your best HP and defense glyphs, even in a piece that doesn't is properly for that, because you want the extra stats on defense and HP on him for his stone skin with 1 HP and the stone skin not to break that easy, for you to have him on 1 HP and this stone skin not be so soft that some champions can go through. That's why you're gonna spend high glyphs on a damage dealing piece, high defensive glyphs on a damage dealing piece on an attack nuker, just to have these extra stats to keep his stone skin. You're gonna put the blue 3 on him on the Masteries, lasting gifts, just to have the chance to extend his stone skin to 2 turns. And that might save the battle for you again, because when he get destroyed, he puts the stone skin, and instead of 1 turn, he gives 2 turns with lasting gifts. And these extra turns of a nuker on his caliber can win the battle.
Damn, man.
Yeah. And
You're making me really want this guy. If I saw you reckon with him on stream, and I was like, damn.
He's an interesting champion because his multipliers are not good.
Yep.
Not good. If you just build him and try to damage test on a dragon, on a arena team, he's not good. His damage multipliers are not good. But his passive and the situational things that he brings, he makes him a really, really, really strong champion. If you face him, he's another champion that if you face him, you're gonna okay. I need to think in a way of dealing with him, because if I do not deal with him, he's going to destroy me.
Yeah.
I win the battle, then I lose the battle at the same minute, at the same second. And
interesting. How weak does he hit? How weak does he hit? Like, okay, you said he doesn't hit that hard. It's got to be hard enough, right? Give me a comp. Give me a comp. Any other champion that I would know.
For example, his AOE hits like Eric's A1. Let's say like this.
Okay.
His AOE skill. But if your enemy has buffs, he's going to hit like a Taras.
Okay. All right.
You know,
all right.
That's the thing. When you think you lost the battle, your enemy started, his Sifi buffed, they buffed with another champion. They have like 20 buffs on their team. They nuke, they destroy everything.
Yep.
Then he gets 200% more damage because of all these buffs. And
I love that it doesn't put it on cooldown. The instant activation, you can get right back to it with the stone skin. Yeah. That's strong. Cool. Obviously, I'll give a Trunda shout out. Obviously, like
I like her.
Yeah,
I like her. I like her.
What do you think about the change on the critical hit thing? The can't critical hit. I barely even noticed it. I mean, you know, I do notice it, but like, she's still kind of the same. What do you think?
She's still the best champion for Hydra.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah.
If it was just that, okay, they did a good job on Trunda itself. But the Hydra situation, I cannot agree.
No,
I think it was the worst thing on the year.
No one has. Yeah, it's crazy that they haven't considered going back. It's like, it's got to be over 95% of my audience is not in favor of the changes, even months later. Usually people adjust. I remember like way back in the day, remember when they changed the stats like a year ago? Like it used to say defense and resistance and critical damage. And then they changed it to the little numbers. This is a stupid little example, but I remember immediately everybody, myself included, was like, I don't like this new look. It looks weird. And then I was watching an old video and I'm like, dude, it looks weird the other way. This is the right way to have it. But
I hope one day I have this feeling because
they'll change the Hydra back. I hope so too. And then Newt. I mean, my man's still like one of the goats in the game for all PvE. So he needs a mention. He does so much. The control, the damage, just the counterattack, the escalation, the counter. This guy's just insane, man. I mean, double Newt is a monster.
My dream,
single Newt is a beast. What?
My dream, and it's the best team to have on this new boss, double Newt or triple Newt. So it's my dream. I don't have him. I need to do a shout out to Tormy. Yeah, I need to. I need to do a shout out to Tormy also.
Yeah,
because
good old Torment. Yeah.
Remember when I said that I watch my streams and I see the reason why I lost fights. Usually, when it's not Marius, it's Stormy the reason. Because on this meta, that speed is so insane. This champion can break the champions that you're trying to boost. It's always going to be a gambler because it might not proc, it might proc. Your enemy might have Pharaoh, your enemy might have Stone Skin, your enemy might have Pinpoint. But if they don't, he paid the gamble. And many people that has almost no chance of winning win because of that.
I was just going to say that. I'm glad you mentioned it because similar to some Wukong in different ways, if you know you're to never give up. And like live arena people are playing more often. I can't emphasize this enough, and I'm sure you could double down because you play way more than I do. But like, never give up when you see them pith mythicals or whatever, you know? Because I get that from time to time as people just like end the fight. But there's been plenty of times that a Torment, you know, it is RNG to your point, but he comes in there and if you have him and you're not a big spender or you're free to play or whatever, like you should be rolling this guy all the time, you know, like take advantage because he can be that differentiator that allows you to beat teams that maybe you shouldn't, maybe have way better gear and way better champions than you do.
Exactly.
So good call out. Good call out.
RNG can bring you the victory.
Yeah, I'll go. I mean, I don't. It's hard to consider Geomancer a nuker, but it's hard not to consider him a nuker because he just destroys bosses like a boss. But other than him, Morag, I love Morag. She's a really cool champion. You use Morag at all?
I use her on S19 of Synchronous. Like,
Yeah.
I could not beat this room without her. But
She's
if
cool.
I would do a shout out, I think Gala is one of
Of course you're the arena player in you. Did you ever use Gala heavily back in the day when everybody was well, not everybody, but a lot of players were using her?
Yeah, I love it when Shinny brought her into the spotlight because it was a good usage of epic.
Yeah.
In the middle of the Taras and something, in the Taras and in Marichika meta that was bring brought. So he found the epic champion in the middle of the legendaries, and it was really fun to see her shining. And she's a really fun champion.
She is.
I used her a lot in the beginning of my account, and I still use her because I trust her damage. I think she's a champion. Okay, I'm going to hit. If she kills, I win the fight. And I think she's one of the champions that you can trust a little bit her damage.
She's a little tiny
really
mini
good.
Rotos. you
yeah.
know? The single target, extra turn mechanics. I agree with you. Gala's really, really fun to play around with. Shadowkin time. Man, I'm very interested. I know who I would go with, but like you could go so many different directions here. It's ridiculous. This faction's ridiculous.
I'm waiting for the faction unit of this.
Oh my god.
Faction.
We're getting close. We're getting close.
Yeah. Okay, hard choices here because we have some champions that are good, really good. But the first one, it won't be Harima. It will be Ieyasu. Right now,
Okay.
this samurai, when I thought Georgie was the glass cannon champion that you have in mind, and I just not put him as top one glass cannon in the game because of this champion here. I think this is the new definition of a glass cannon. This champion hits extremely hard in all his skills. All his skills from the A1, from the A2, from the A3 have insane effects, side effects on them that makes a single target unit bring down all the enemy team by himself. I'm using this champion a lot. I think in the last 4, 5, 6 days, I'm using him as my most picked champion.
Wow.
Outside the speed boosters because of the funny way he has to win the battles. Because he has like the strongest ignore Stone Skin ability in the game that he's a 3. He has the highest damage double hit skill there to ignore Stone Skin, and that's something really hard because we have a lot of champions now that ignore Stone Skin, but this one is the hardest hitting one. He has the insane damage A2 that walk revives, but the strongest skill on his kit is the A1, in my opinion, because of
that's insane.
The chance of getting the extra turns with that amount of hits and that amount of damage. If you watch him being played, deleting champions with almost 200 HP with the A1 and getting extra turn, this champion, no empowerment, hit as hard as a +4 mythical, and he's a void Lego. So the capability of damage he does is insane. And there's more because there are relics, not only the relics itself, the main relic, but the relic and the sockets, that gemstones that you can put on the sockets, that are made to him. They are designed to this champion. The guy who wrote the test, okay, let buff this champion. Because the possibilities with Crescent Moon and some triangles and circle are insane. The damage output that is already one of the biggest in the game can be even more. higher, even higher. So I think he's one of all the champions that I would say is my favorite champions at the moment because of how fun he is. You see a stone skin nice on your face and you're okay. If I try to break the stone skin, I won't have damage to kill the nice. If I try to kill the nice and I don't kill the nice, he will transform. This is a champion that can delete nice through the stone skin and you don't even care about him.
Oh man, it's a great call out. I don't have this dude, but man, you're making me want him. Golly, it's a really insane kit, especially when you speak to every skill, you know. And then the passive too. The extra damage, is that significant as well?
Yeah. So sometimes you have the opportunity to kill 3 champions with the A1. On the 4th, you don't even hit because he dies from the splash from the other 3.
Damn.
And if you're talking AoE damage during PvE, this splash is relevant.
Yeah.
Relevant. His damage output is almost the same as Toshiro and Teox that are insane damage outputters there in Hydra. When Trunda was nerfed, he was a champion that was, okay, he's going to be the next Trunda, and they are not wrong, but not many people have him +4 like they had Trunda right now. And if it wasn't for the Hydra nerf about the Serpent Wheel, because they killed single target champions.
Yeah.
So if it was not a single target boss right now, if it was not a AoE target boss, I think he would be the toppest damage on Hydra, probably. It's not anymore.
All right. Well, dang, now everybody watching is jealous, unless you're lucky enough to have him. Toshiro, Ninja, Harima. I'm assuming you classify all of these champions as S tier.
They are top tier at the functions.
Yeah.
Even Mishinaki is a crazy good one also.
Yeah, I like Mishinaki as well. Epic wise, who's your fave here on Epics?
Oboro and Gambo. I think they are the craziest damage dealers on this faction. Even more Gambo, because Gambo is a champion that if you don't have crazy Lego Nukers in the beginning of the game and you got a Gambo, he will be your main Nuker for a long period of time. Yeah. And he is, for many accounts that I know, that have mythical champions, but they don't have good legendaries or mythical Nukers. And the Gambo is the main Nuker, and he does the job. He can he can do a lot of damage, and he has utility on his kit that is interesting. And self-buffing, ignoring unkillable. He's a champion that can do a lot of damage. And with the empowerment, he's a viable champion.
Yeah, I totally agree. I like you almost forget how much he can do. You know, the immunity to decrease attack, the decreasing the cooldown, the duration of all buffs that can't be resisted on critical hits. Like, it's a very, very robust kit. Man, we could be here. I'm saying this for the 10th time today, but man, there's so many. This is stacked. It feels criminal to not spend more time on Ninja, Toshiro, and Harima, but we're almost 2 hours in, so we'll go Sylvan Watchers. But this is why I enjoyed. I think I said at the beginning of the video, like hours and hours ago, that we're gonna keep it short. But
you're done. You are done.
I failed again. Who are we gonna go to finish things off here in Sylvan Watchers, Kruysen?
Brother, we only have 3 Nukers on this faction, proper Nukers.
Yep.
We can set up all the 3, but Nice is top 3 champions in the game. I think he's one of
top 3 in the game. Not even Nukers, just straight up.
He's straight up.
Wow.
I think he's a champion that if you have 4 enemies, your enemy team has 4 champions, and you have a Nice. Most of the players, I lost. Nice is not that way. He's a champion that by himself he will, and he probably will, face the 4 champions with a high chance of winning. And that's how strong he is. He is a Nuker that right now people are building him even with resistance, because he can still survive nuke, bring your team back, and do not be affected by debuffs because of the resistance he gets from the passive.
So true. Yeah.
The amount of builds you can put on him are insane. He's another champion that you can build on Pharaoh and Savage. He can be built in so many builds, and he has 2 sources of damage with higher blessings, higher empowerment, he damage multipliers are higher, and the two sources of damage again. The possibilities of this champion. He's one of the strongest, more annoying, and more broken champions in the game.
He is very annoying. I'll give you that. The protected buffs and the form change, I feel like it's like, oh, I'm just going to be in for a long haul. And usually, even though you say he's number 3 in the game, he's not a guy that I ban a lot, because I usually gravitate towards the control, like the big immediate threats, and you have to deal with these not slow threat, because he can block revive and you'll be screwed, but it's just like I end up dealing with a lot of nice. Is what I'm trying to say, and I never like it,
Me too. I have to ban another champions because I can try to win against nice, and there are some champions I can try to win.
Yeah.
But if something goes wrong, I will be killed by the nice that I didn't ban.
Who would be? I will give a shout out. I won't mention why, because I want people to check out your channel, but I will give a shout out. You had a really interesting allele video a week ago or so, so I'll link that in the description of this video. Please remind me to do so if you can. And we'll talk about why allele has some real hidden utility for a guy who's considered one of the worst void Legos out there in the game. Any other? I'm assuming you were underwhelmed by this Ash Arrow guy, Callowite.
I like him.
Okay.
He's one of the champions that I tried to open my shards. I didn't have many.
Okay.
To get him.
I heard kind of mixed reviews, honestly. Mixed reviews on him,
Yeah, he's a champion that I didn't tried, but I like his kit. His kit, and I think everybody's building him wrong.
Oh, okay. Well, do tell now.
I think he's a champion you have to put 0 speed on it. You want him as slow as possible. You want him that the proc of an A1 decrease turn meter proc his passive. And by doing that, you put the maximum damage you can on him. 0 speed, full damage. If you proc his passive, you're gonna delete 2 champions. You have to try to do that with him. He's an Armand's counter. Everybody knows it, and people try to only use it to counter that.
Okay.
But imagine you're facing a lot of Lazarius speed boosters right there because the new meta. And Lazarius, when he speed boosters, he takes away turn meter. And you're facing Shuzans, and Shuzan uses A3. And she takes away turn meter. If you build him fast, when the 20%, 10%, 5% turn meter won't be enough to proc his passive. But if you build him very slow, and your opponents are crazy fast, when they take away 20% of your turn meter, he's going to proc his passive.
That's
you're going to have your straight turn in front of their turns.
That's true. I'm glad I mentioned him, because I don't have him, but I'm sure folks out there will appreciate it. Also, like, it feels weird to call her a nuker because she's a great support, but man, Esther can deal a little bit of damage herself. She's a sneaky little choice. I love it. I love that champion. And then, man, I'll give 2 epic shout outs here to end things on my end, at least. I think everybody knows how good Miss Rider Dathi is. This guy's a beast. Force affinity, he's got the extra turns, decreased defense, he self buffs, he's got the damage. But I always give shouts to my man Pan the Bowhorn. This guy is a nasty little nuker. He's pretty one-dimensional, but he's got a little control and a 2-turn true fear. But man, this guy can smack with the best of them in terms of just raw attack damage for wave content and stuff like that. So do you have any to add to that?
Without these 2 epics, I wouldn't have cleared Synchronous, not even
okay,
one.
so you are also a believer in Pan.
Yeah, I also
he's a cool little champ, right?
And I use 2 Pan.
2 pans. I love it, man. Do you have one fully empowered?
No, I have one.
You built 2 pans?
2 and 1 + 0.
I took Pan the Bowhorn, and I have him fully empowered. I have him fully awakened, and I put him in like my Toshiro gear, like whatever, my best gear that I had by Siegfried. And dude, my guy was just like, it's just fun to do that sometimes, to put like an unsung hero in your best, or champion in your best gear. And man, I was just like, Pan is a god, which literally I guess he is. But anyway, man, You have been so generous again, Kruysen. The least that we can do is subscribe to your channel and help you get to 8,000 subscribers. We're inching our way there. I'm counting on the 3 viewers still watching 2 hours in to go ahead and at least add 3 to that number. Any final words? Thank you again for coming on and being again so generous with your time.
No, thank you for having me here. It's always I love to do that. I love to talk about the champions, to brainstorm, to try to present people a new view in some champions. They already have something in mind, a prejudgment about something, and they can bring another view about that, and you might change your view of some champion or the way you want to use that champion because someone present you a new thing or made you see another option that you didn't saw before. I think that's really relevant to the game.
You do a great job of that, man.
Fun.
Yeah.
We try.
you do, like you mentioned, obviously all the meta champions, which is great, is what people come forward to a large extent, but you also do a great job of highlighting some of the unsung heroes or just unorthodox builds. So thanks again for coming on, man. I'll have the channel link. I'll have the link to the Allele video if you guys want to watch that right now. And we'll see you next time. Thanks. And as always, take care, guys.